Delilah is a significant figure in the biblical narrative of Samson, and her story offers profound lessons from the perspective of Jehovah's Witnesses, as presented on jw.org. Delving into her life requires an understanding of the historical context, her relationship with Samson, and the spiritual implications of her actions. Through this exploration, we uncover themes of faithfulness, the dangers of inappropriate associations, and the consequences of personal choices. Historical and cultural context. To fully appreciate Delilah's role, it's essential to consider the time of the judges in Israel's history. This period was characterized by a cyclical pattern of disobedience, oppression, supplication, and deliverance among the Israelites. They often fell into idolatry, leading Jehovah to allow neighboring nations, like the Philistines, to oppress them as a form of discipline. Judges chapter 2 verses 11 to 15. The Philistines. The Philistines were a dominant force during this era. They were technologically advanced, particularly in metallurgy, giving them superior weaponry. Their oppression of Israel was severe, aiming not only to subjugate the Israelites but also to eradicate their worship of Jehovah. Samson's mission. Samson was born into this turbulent time, designated by Jehovah to begin delivering Israel from Philistine oppression. Judges chapter 13 verse 5. As a Nazirite from birth, his life was to be one of special dedication, symbolized by abstaining from cutting his hair, avoiding contact with dead bodies, and refraining from alcohol. Numbers chapter 6 verses 1 to 8. Delilah's introduction. Delilah enters the narrative in Judges chapter 16 verse 4. Afterward it came about that he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek whose name was Delilah. The valley of Sorek was a fertile region famous for its vineyards, located near the Philistine border. Delilah's nationality isn't specified, but her actions align her with the Philistines. Samson and Delilah's relationship. Samson's weakness for Philistine women. Samson had a history of entanglements with Philistine women, which often led to personal and national difficulties. His marriage to a woman from Timnah resulted in betrayal and violence. Judges chapters 14 to 15. His involvement with Delilah continued this pattern, highlighting a disregard for Jehovah's counsel against forming close ties with those outside the Israelite community. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verses 3 to 4. Delilah's primary motivation appears to be financial gain. The Philistine lords offered her a substantial bribe to discover the secret of Samson's strength. Entice him and find out where his great strength lies. And each one of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver. Judges chapter 16 verse 5. This amount was considerable, reflecting the high value they placed on capturing Samson. The three deceptions. First attempt. 7 fresh bowstrings. Delilah begins her quest by directly asking Samson for the source of his strength. Samson deceives her, saying, "If they bind me with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, then I shall become weak." Judges chapter 16 verse 7. She tries this, but he easily snaps the bowstrings when ambushed by the Philistines. Second attempt. New ropes. Undeterred, Delilah presses him again. Samson tells her, "If they bind me securely with new ropes that have never been used, then I shall become weak." Judges chapter 16 verse 11. Once more, she binds him, but he breaks free effortlessly during another ambush. Third attempt. Weaving his hair. Persisting, Delilah asks again, and Samson suggests weaving the 7 locks of his hair into the fabric on a loom. She does so, but when the Philistines attack, he awakens and pulls away, taking the loom with him. Judges chapter 16 verses 13 to 14. Delilah's persistence and Samson's capitulation. Delilah employs emotional tactics to wear Samson down. "How can you say, 'I love you,' when your heart is not with me?" Judges chapter 16 verse 15. She accuses him of mocking her, exploiting his feelings to extract the truth. After relentless nagging, his soul was vexed to death. Judges chapter 16 verse 16. Samson finally discloses, "No razor has ever come upon my head. If I am shaven, then my strength will leave me." Judges chapter 16 verse 17. This confession reveals not just the physical symbol of his strength but the spiritual covenant with Jehovah. The betrayal and capture. Delilah's treachery. Recognizing that he had told her all his heart, Delilah informs the Philistine lords. Judges chapter 16 verse 18. She lulls Samson to sleep on her knees, a gesture of intimacy and trust, and has a man shave off his hair. Judges chapter 16 verse 19. Samson's loss of strength. When Samson awakens, he thinks he will escape as before, but he did not know that Jehovah had departed from him. Judges chapter 16 verse 20. The Philistines seize him, gouge out his eyes, and bind him in bronze fetters. Samson's humiliation. Blind and imprisoned, Samson is set to grinding grain, a menial task typically assigned to slaves or animals. Judges chapter 16 verse 21. This physical blindness mirrors his earlier spiritual blindness in succumbing to Delilah's manipulation. Jehovah's mercy. Despite his failings, Samson's hair begins to grow again. Judges chapter 16 verse 22, symbolizing the potential for restoration. In his final moments, he prays to Jehovah for strength, demonstrating renewed faith. Samson's final act. The Philistine celebration. The Philistines hold a great feast to celebrate their victory, offering sacrifices to Dagon, their god. Judges chapter